Good morning, solar YouTubers. Today is Sunday, November the 4th of 2025. I don't know where the star of the show is at. She went by here a few minutes ago. There she is. There's the star of the show. Get kissies? Hey, the peeps want kissies. There you go. You guys got kissies. That is the star of the show. Right now we got pretty good sunny skies. As you can tell, there is some chemtrails right there. That's chemtrails. That's not clouds. It's chemtrails. That's spread out to be clouds. I am bringing in about 2 amps or amp in. So this battery setup is in parallel. Inside the Lucidity box is another Auto battery. I don't have these fused because the box itself is the fuse. On my over here on these batteries, let me get this mess cleaned up off of this. That's my EB3A. That's another star to show. That's what I got there. I picked these up. These are they was $577 for 2 of them, 2-pack, and I've heard a lot of pretty decent views on it. So, and this is 5 kilowatts of hours, I think, of storage. So I got them in parallel, so they're 25.6 at 200 amp hours. And right now I'm not using solar to charge them up because I only got 400 watts on the roof. And I don't have very much sun in the wintertime here in Indiana. So here in the wintertime, I got them running off the grid. So it's a UPS function. So what I have hooked to my VEVOR is just my refrigerator and my internet. That's about it. In case power goes out, I always have a backup. We had a major storm roll through here about 3 years ago, I want to say, maybe 4, 3 years, 2 years, 3 years ago, somewhere in there. And I was out of power for 4 days. This whole area was out for 4 days. Half the town was out. Pretty much the whole north end of Terre Haute was out of power. You can travel down south end to have power. It's kind of hit and miss, but most of the down south have power. But pretty much everything up north there, we had no power. We was out for 4 days. I've known people who was out for a week. But I've never been out of power that long. And I sleep with the fan. I have to have that constant noise, because I snore so loud, I wake myself up. But if I had that constant noise, and I didn't have it, so I had to, excuse the house is a wreck, I don't care, I live by myself, nobody comes over. So I went and bought a DeWalt fan during that time period, and it was pretty decent. During that time period, 4 days, I did go on Amazon and get that 2,000 watt generator. And it was here within 2 days, so I had that for 2 days. I ran that once for about an hour in the morning to get the fridge back up to temperature. And then I would go to, it was over the weekend. Well, it was over the weekend, so the first 2 days it happened, I had, Thursday and Friday I was working. But over the weekend, I would run it an hour in the morning, you get the fridge up to temperature, and then I would shut it off. And then at night, before I went to bed, I powered up the generator and got the refrigerator back up to temp, or top it off for overnight. Same time I got the EB3A, and this setup here is on a 200 watt bifacial panel. So I have a 200 watt panel that's operating this, and this operates my NuWave cooktop. I don't use my stove anymore. Let me get some light here for you guys. I don't use my stove anymore. Very seldom to use my stove. And my coffee maker every once in a while. It's only 1,000 watts. And on that NuWave, you do have, it's pretty, if you guys don't have one, you need to get one. It's 1,900 or 1,300 watts. I run mine on 600 watts. And it's a pretty awesome little cooktop. I suggest everybody get one. When power goes out, you have a cooktop, all you need is a power source, a generator, or this here. And so this here operates the cooktop, and I make my own tea. I make it out of a coffee maker. So I make tea about every other day-ish. So I just have a power strip that's running into the generator. I mean, into the Lucidity box, and that's how I power up my coffee maker or whatever. Lucidity box, it's pretty much like the EB3A. It does have a 1,000-watt inverter. EB3A has a 600-watt inverter. This does have your cigarette lighter. That has a cigarette lighter. It has 2 of your ports there. That does too. This one here has this has its own 10 amp charge controller, and that has its own charge controller. But on this, I have this little power box here, okay? So it's literally plugged straight in to the Lucidity box. So I have extra USB ports and extra cigarette lighter ports. It's just an extension on that. And I can't do it with that. But the main difference, and this box was like 150, 160 bucks, but you had to put your own battery in it. But this is a full size, 1280 watt hours. That was only 680, I want to say. So I've had no issues with the Blue Yeti. It's been nice, and that's got Bluetooth, so you can operate it. Look at it off your phone, operate off your phone. And this does not. I added the shunt myself, so I know where the battery's at and what's going in, what's coming out. And these shunts are pretty awesome because they would tell you what's coming in, and then if I turn it on real quick, and so both of them are turned on, and then my NuWave kicked on. So if I just turn my NuWave on real quick, let's go down to 600. You hit start. Here, powering up. So if we go here, we see it's drawing 19 amps from that one, 268 watts, because these are in parallel. Okay, so these are in parallel. So you can see it's showing you a negative coming out of the battery. You hear the power inverter coming on. And if we just go over here and turn it off, and this is pretty cool too. You have your high, medium, and sear. Same down over here. I mean, you have your things, and you set your wattage. I run mine at 600. I've run it at 900 before, and that box has done great. But if we go over here and we turn it off, and you see it shows it charging. Okay. So right now the battery's it's in parallel, so it's trying to equalize itself. But I have solar coming in, so. But it does show you what's going out of the battery and what's going in the battery, and that's what's cool about this shunt. And this is that's the name of the shunt there. Let's turn it over so I'll give you guys a good view of it. And the shunt's real easy to hook up. So what you do is you take the shunt here, and it is marked battery minus and the battery load. So you put the battery minus on the negative terminal and you screw it down into the boat, and your load comes off this side, okay? And that's with this, and it's plugged into the box, so it's making this parallel. And then you have to run, and then this plugs straight in, the monitor plugs straight into this, and you do need to run so down through here you got these terminals. So I do have a red wire into the terminal, and it has to go to the positive side. They give you pretty nice long wires in this here. So that's how you hooked up the shunt. It's really simple, really easy. It's pretty much plug and play. Just gotta make sure that the battery negative goes straight into the battery. The negative load, so all your negatives come off this side. And then your monitor, literally, it plugs in there, and it plugs in there. Then you got to run that red wire to your positive, and that's it. Simple as that. Same thing in this box. So the lid comes off. I have it hooked away same way up in that, and this setup's in parallel. So I have what 2400 watt hours, 100 amp hours. So 2800. I think it's 2800. So this is 1280 is 2425 something, real quick math. So I got pretty good amp hours on this, storage wise. I got about 2000 watt hours roughly. So I got 2K on this, or 2 kilowatts. Now it's a 5 kilowatt. But I'm gonna get off of here. I'm just rambling about stupid stuff. You guys have a great day, and we'll end it off with Saturn giving you kisses.